G'day and welcome to the Inforunners. I'm Execute, joined today by the Astropub and Lokenplays. How are you doing, gentlemen?
Not doing too badly, thank you, sir. Yourself? Tired, I assume.
Exhausted.
I'm done with school, so like my last day of school was yesterday, so I'm on that high.
You,
like, yeah,
done now.
I can sleep in. I'm done for 2 months.
Good man. There you go.
Everyone's going, yeah, it's the last day of the sale. No, it's not, because I got to do the buyer's guide. Well, you guys are going to be both back for that too, aren't you, in a couple of days' time?
Yeah.
So yeah. And we're gonna teach Loken. He hasn't done a lot of CCU stuff, so that'll be interesting, Paul. We can go through it with Loken in a bit of detail and give him the broader strokes, and hopefully he can see the benefit of it, because I know there's a lot of people that really can't afford to buy a lot of these ships, and it really brings the price down quite a bit for some people if they know. So everyone's very, especially if you're not, I don't want to say well off, but you know, not in a good place financially. It definitely allows your money to either get something that you can't afford or allows your money to go further. So yeah,
it's definitely one of those things when you take a look at it and you actually understand how it works. You go, oh wow, I could knock off a lot of dollars on this just by
Yep.
Well, to me, it just looks like a whole bunch of like voodoo magic. You know, oh, you do this thing here and do this thing here, and then suddenly you've got money off. I'm like, how? So I'm looking forward to learning how about that. I'm looking forward to finally getting that knowledge. You know?
Well, it's so complicated that CIG don't even know that some of their own systems, because when we talked to certain people, that they weren't aware that people were getting ships for so cheap and stuff. They were actually dumbfounded, and we think because of those communications we've had, that things have changed. Like some of the CCUs were not as good as they were, but we'll put it this way: the best we've ever seen was a Carrack. You know, do you know what the price of a Carrack is? Just quickly,
$600, I believe.
So what if I told you someone got one for 95?
Oh, go home. Are you for real? Seriously?
Yes, he's real.
How? What did you do? Go in and rob CIG?
We'll show you how he did it. We might show you off stream, but we'll show you how they did it, and then we'll show you what you can do specifically just from this sale is what we'll do tomorrow, and we call it the CCU chaining guide. So if you were clever enough to get all the CCUs along the way that were worth getting and adding them all together. So yeah, and we'll also talk about the CCU for today, and there'll be another one tomorrow, but we tend to, I'm not going to do a whole video for just one CCU, but yeah. All right. Yeah. With that, we are.
Before we get started, I was going to say, you're going to do that. You're going to do it.
Yeah, I was going to do it. Yeah, I'm learning, Paul. I'm learning. Yeah. Right. So yeah, don't forget to like, subscribe, ring that notification bell. We are looking at giving away a Sulian, if that is what's coming at Alien Week. If we can get to 15K subscribers by the end, before the end of Alien Week. So yeah, if you're looking at helping us out there, and that's the best thing you can do here. Just like and subscribe, and tell your friends, obviously, and you know, that's all the things we need here. All right.
Liking will help promote us a little bit more and get more YouTube to tell people that other people who like Star Citizen like the Inforunners. So you should try the Inforunners. So
make the algorithm like us.
Yes. We are definitely a unique beast here in the algorithm. I know yourself in space, when you've looked at the analytics on this channel, somewhat baffled. You say that a lot. It's like because we don't have the highest subscriber count, but the views are really high for the subscriber count, which is kind of weird. So and when I looked at the analytics myself recently, we have about 50-50 in the ratio of people that subscribed and not subscribed. So yeah,
that's pretty good.
Yeah, always be better, but you know, not
absolutely. It could always be better.
All right, let's kick it off to the browser. Let's hope I hit the right one, or did I butcher it? I didn't butcher it.
Yay! Nailed it.
Yep, nailed it. Yeah, I haven't nailed it a couple of times this week. It's been awkward. All right, so I'll do the CCU first. So the Corsair's there at the moment. So let's have a quick look at this. I opened. No, it worked. Let's have a look. So we got a Corsair on this side, or not, because I can't scroll or type. There it is. So we're getting 230, and if we go to the other side, what are our cheap chips on this side? So there's a little bit of it here, Loken. We can go with it for a little bit here. So it looks like, let's just say we take the Raelian for a quick example. It is a $5 CCU. So can you see how that works, Loken? Very quickly. You'll pay $5 for this CCU because it's been discounted from $250 to 230 essentially. So you can take a Raelian for $5 and essentially you're saving what's that, $20. So yeah,
$20. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, spend 5, save 20. And CCU chaining is essentially just getting a bunch of these and connecting them together. So you save 20 here, 5 here, 10 here, and it all builds up and you get, and someone managed to string them all together so neatly that there was only $95 of real dollars used, and that's how they got it right down. The $95 spent was $95 on CCUs, and they're all perfectly connected with massive savings in between.
That is ludicrous, but in the best way possible. God dang.
he did a very good job, and if you're very good, I might introduce you to him. But we'll see.
Well.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, gonna be honest with you, I probably need to look a little closer again real quick to if you are picking that one up. I wouldn't pick that up because I've probably got some original ones from back when the Corsair was 215 that are probably a bit better than that. Raelian's the only one at 225 though, so it might be the Raelian for $5. The Terrapin's not a bad one; it's available a lot. And I'm gonna tell you right now, there's probably 3 people listening to me in the supporters channel, all screaming at me saying it's this one. But I'm gonna make the assumption it's the Raelian just because it's $5, right? It's the only one there that's that. But I'll get screamed out later. But if a particular person messages me, I will have a quick look at it if a message pops up above my head. Right. With that,
and if you think we're wrong, please tell us in the comments below. It always helps us out as well. Yep. We always read them.
Yep.
So.
Yeah. Again, being the smaller gap is generally the safe way to go, and you generally want to get the cheapest one. But sometimes there's just a ship like the Raelian's not always available. That's why it makes it a bit of an annoying choice. So yeah. All right. The Buccaneer. We'll start with you, Mr. Loken. Give us your thoughts on the Man. Now I've got Paul in the middle. I haven't had anyone in the middle all week. I've got to scroll up a bit. And Paul's just gonna have to squat down a bit like this so we can. No, Paul. I'll do the dancing again, Paul.
I'll make myself bigger.
Yeah, I'll make
myself smaller. I'll make myself smaller. There we go.
Oh, I can do that.
Right,
look, I'll make you smaller. There you go. Look, you're done.
There you go.
There you go.
All right.
Fitting his stature.
All right. So the Buccaneer. How do you find that, Mr. Loken? You can start us off.
Well, Buccaneer in terms of the actual ship itself, I mean, glass cannon in an absolute, earnest nature. It's an engine and a cockpit, but it has a lot of guns and it's very maneuverable. So if that's your vibe, fair play. It's, I guess, this is dancing in the Gladius and Arrow category, isn't it, of light fighters?
Yep.
And at 110, I mean, that's quite a lot of cheddar to be putting out for a ship. So of that size. I mean, I don't know. That's when I'll probably grab it in game because it's probably going to be relatively effective and easy to grab cost-wise.
And I would agree with you 100%. Generally, we have a standard thing here. We don't recommend combat ships under $250, and most ships under, say, $200. There are exceptions to the rule, and also if you're going with your heart over your head, go nuts. But as a generalized financial advice type style rule, they just won't maximize or multiply in value. And this is based on things Chris said back in the day. Like an example he gave was an Aurora will roughly stay the same. A Constellation will be about 5 times its value, and an Idris would be up to 10 times its value. And when you learn things like that, you're like, well, gigging big ships is the way to go because they cost less now. Yes, they do cost more, but if they're going to be worth 10 times what they are now, so that's not that it's going to be worth dollar value, but a Javelin's $3,000. If that turns out to be $30,000, but in-game value, you can all of a sudden see how big the gap is to earn that. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
So yeah. Anyway, Paul, your thoughts on the Buccaneer?
It used to be a very, very good ship, and then CIG has changed how damage works. So it's like, if you like light fighters, it's not bad, and it will eventually get its balance pass and become a little bit better. It'll have its time in the sun, but it suffers from the Drake problem, which it has no ejection seat. So in a future where death of a spaceman matters, it's a big kaboom. You either get good or die. That's if that sounds appealing to you, you can squeeze a lot of DACA out of the Buccaneer. It's got a lot of firepower they can bring to bear. and it's really maneuverable and really fast. It's just not quite as good as other ships which are cheaper than it. So it's
actually interesting that you mentioned the ejection seat, because I've actually, since soft death has been put in, I've actually been using my ejection seat when my fighter blows up. I will just blow out, because somebody will come around and blow you up so you can save yourself. Just saying, it is something to think about these days.
It is a bit ironic too, in a manufacturer that's kind of meant to be the pirate combat-y type of thing. They don't have the injection seats, so the better ships from them are the ones that don't traditionally have those things, but they also don't have life pods. So you know, like a Caterpillar.
Drake is about full commitment. You gotta fully commit, otherwise or die. There's two options.
So things like
get good or die.
Like the Caterpillar, there's no life pods, you know. But again, I guess you can also break off the command module, so that could be seen as a life pod. So I don't. Well, you don't have them on the Kraken. There's no ejection pods on the Kraken, but the other, the other isn't the secondary. The secondary one to that would be you run out into the pads and just steal a ship and fuck off, you know. So
I guess so, you
know,
that's a vibe. Good grief.
So it's kind of scary when you think back at what they've done to Drake, and you kind of go, questioning my life choices, like. So but that we'll talk about the Kraken a bit when we come around to it, because that'll be good to talk about. So Caterpillar, at $330, it's probably the most expensive, what I would classify as a daily driver. But here's a question I'll throw back at you. Do you now see the because I see this and the Galaxy is in the same class. Do we now say that the Galaxy is a daily driver?
I suppose so. If it's weird line of thought.
The Caterpillar is a weird concept as a daily driver. It's probably not a very effective daily driver. It's kind of like you can technically use a Hercules as a daily driver, but
it's edging out of it. You know, so for me, daily driver's always been a really general ship that does a lot. And again, I think the Galaxy falls in that as well, because it's got the cargo bay. It's obviously got the bigger modules, where this has got more smaller modules, right? And I just think the Caterpillar does a hell of a lot for its price, and it's the same reason why I think a lot of people like the Galaxy. It's just it's RSI instead of Drake, you know. And so everything I see in the Caterpillar, I also see in the Galaxy. So, but then you roll it back into things like the command module that drops off. That's essentially the little mini hangar bay in the back. You know, that command module is nuts. It has life support for 4 people, beds, shower, cooking facilities, all in that little thing just on the
drive and a jump drive.
It's nuts.
It's got a quantum drive.
Yeah,
it's got a quantum jump drive.
I didn't realize it had its own independent quantum drive.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
It's like a mini constellation, all packed in really super tight, but it doesn't have a cargo bay. It's crazy.
But it does have guns. Yeah. It also has the two pilot guns are on that side, and a tractor beam.
Yeah, so the tractor beam's used for loading on the left side as well as the one that's on the wing on the right side. So yeah, it's
right, I'm with you.
It effectively is, if you had just that little pod, it could be used as a miniature, like local industry vehicle, because of the tractor beams and then like the people on there. You could do some like moving back and forth.
Probably.
And I've always theorized that this will eventually get its own release. The little pod, once they have these modularization pods, will get their own release. It's their own standalone ship. It'll get a name. We don't have the name for it yet.
Well, I think of it could be considered a snub.
Yeah,
you know, in term phrase, kind of like the Pisces is considered a
snub.
Yeah, we're really stretching the idea of a snub here.
I think we've just come up with a name for it. It's the grub, because it's fat. You know, like it's just.
or the chrysalis. You know, there we go.
Yeah, something like that. Oh, that's a good one. I like that. Yeah, the chrysalis.
That's actually quite good.
Yeah. Or because it's a caterpillar, it turns into a moth. I don't know.
Yeah.
I do with that.
Actually, not bad. The moth, I don't mind that either. They both work in all different frames of phrase.
Yeah.
And I've often said, like, you know how we talk about CID's bad naming conventions. This really breaks the Drake naming convention. And I did say to Paul, it'd be really cool to have some more insect-related ships from Drake, like another line of thought. Because, and I said, and that's when the Mantis should have been brought from RSI to here and stuff like that, you know. But I'm looking forward to the Drake Dung Beetle. Or whatever. You can see where it goes really quickly. It goes fast.
That's the name. That's the name of the mule. I don't care if whatever it is. I've always called it the dung beetle because it's tiny. It looks like a little bug and it carries shit around. So it's the dung beetle. It's just what it does.
The man makes a good point. I can't deny it.
He has actually just made a point too, because the mule breaks the naming convention too. I've just realized.
It's another animal.
Yeah. So we now got animals, insects, and weapons. So yeah. Okay, interesting. All right. Yeah. So I'm a big fan of the Caterpillar. I think it's in that price range where it's good value. It's something I recommend if you are into cargo right now. The hard part, unlike the Galaxy where they announced the modules, we've only got theories of 11 modules that they've talked about, and then they never ever talked about them again. So I would have to assume, and again, I'm kind of putting this off to you boys in expertise area, and it is a guess, speculation. Knowing some of the modules like that have gone onto the Galaxy, you'd have to assume that they're not going to put those ones on this. So we're probably not going to get a medical module, not get a refinery, not get a manufacturing module, but we're more likely to get a chop shop, aka salvage. Yeah, one of them they talked about was a search and rescue module, which flung people that could connect, like essentially used it to raid other ships. The cargo module's a good one. Anything that's piracy related. So I could also see the ones they talked about was like extra beds for troops and stuff like that. An armory one, which goes very well with piracy. I wouldn't even like a boarding module that goes with so like it comes up with a dock on the side so you can dock with another ship. I could probably see that. And they even flirted. Do you remember the one, Paul, with the 4 docking collars that came off it? You remember that one at all? Yeah,
I remember that one.
So something
that was
like,
a fan content, though. Yeah.
No, it wasn't. It was done by them. It's in the video. We did a thing on ship scrutiny, but obviously it's changed now because you can only go sideways, so it only able to connect to 2 other ships. But we'll see what happens. But yeah, so we do have a video called Ship Scrutiny on the Caterpillar if you want to go deeper into that for yourself. I'll leave it there for now. But yeah, is there anything you want to say about the module specifically, gentlemen? Because this is a bit of a complicated ship. That's why I'm taking my time.
I think it will have some carryover with the Galaxy. Like I could see it having a refinery module.
Okay. Yeah.
But I don't see it having like a medical module. That
was actually one of the ones originally it did have in the video that CIG first did. But I think that's been taken and given to RSI.
It may also have a medical module though, because it does have the Cutlass Red. So it might just be the Cutlass Red. But I wouldn't expect whereas like the RSI Galaxy has like tier 2 and tier 1 beds. This would just maybe like a mass casualty situation where you have like 4 or 5 tier 3 beds. So you're not going to a hospital. It's just a fat ambulance.
The advantage over the real advantage of this over the Galaxy though is it can only go to a certain size. So you might get say 2 tier 3 beds in one module, but you can have 2 tier 3 beds, a salvage, a cargo, and all that. Where the Galaxy is locked into the one. So this is the Swiss Army knife. That is the adapter one. You put on different adapters, but you got to go back to put the adapters on. Where this can just take the whole kit, the kitchen sink and everything with it. A bit more adaptable.
I think you always have some crossover. It'll just be limited. Like I don't think the Caterpillar will be as efficient as the RSI Galaxy in terms of its refining capabilities. I could also see the fan favorite, the broadside module from Vanguard Force, Hyper Vanguard Force, where you replace some of these with just a giant broadside cannon to fire.
What about you, Logan?
This isn't Battlefleet, mate. We're not going to be doing broadside barrages of macro cannons, mate. Come on.
Well, that's all we saw in the first week of the Fury was people chucking into different ships like this. So yeah.
No, in all seriousness, I do echo a lot of Paul's saying. The Caterpillar is a very versatile vessel. Even now, it's rugged and reliable, utilitarian, and of course, its modularity will reflect that. You won't have a state-of-the-art medical facility. You'll have a frontier medicine office. You won't have a scientific laboratory in here. You might have a drugs lab. You know what I mean? It's going to echo the Drake aesthetic of frontier ruggedness and piracy and criminal activity. But it's still a good ship. and I like them, and I kind of want one, especially now I've seen what you can do with Furies.
The one thing I will add, and this is my little, I'm hearing Algrid say, Algrid's not a Drake fan, but he does like the ship, and I forced him to fly it. There is something about when you fly the ship that is really unique because you sit right at the back and off to one side. There is no other ship like that in the game. And if you're doing a lot of cargo runs and you want to feel something different, try doing it in a Caterpillar, because it's just, there is something unique about how this thing flies, and it's just really cool. If you want something different, like if you've been in a Hercules for 6 months or whatever, and you just want something a bit stale, try this. I think I'll kind of leave it there because we have probably lingered on this a little long. But all right, the Corsair. Paul, your thoughts on the Corsair?
My favorite exploration ship. I think it's just hands down. The Carrack is the meta ship, but I think this is a much more functional ship. It's exploration, it's exploration, and it's cargo. It's got such an interesting, unique thing to it. And even I was not expecting when it first came out that it would have an elevator to the roof, so you can actually get to the very top of your ship and just walk around it if you wanted to, which is kind of a neat little thing.
Do you know, we thought about that quite a lot, and we reckon that's for when you come back onto it. So you can fly under the ship, and if you're in atmosphere, you can drop off and land on it and come.
Yeah.
That makes sense, actually,
yeah. So
or if you need to like get observation or just cool factor, like if you want to see over something, you can do that, or repair the wings. Like say you're in situ, the wings are folded up, you can't get to the top of the wings, but you get up there, you might be able to like reach over and
like.
But
Go ahead.
I'll just finish up by saying it's a rugged frontier vessel. So if you want to do rugged frontier stuff, it's great.
So for me, the Corsair and the Vulture are two ships that turned me from a person who respected Drake but didn't like them into a person who actually really likes Drake now. I actually like this ship made me go, oh, okay, actually Drake are pretty freaking cool. And I dig the size. This kind of size and scale is a really competitive area of the Star Citizen market, because you're into that sort of like small multi-crew ship. And it's unashamedly what Drake is all about. I adore the fact it's all front forward, all guns on the front of it, because you're going to be exploring, but it doesn't shy away from it. And I love the aesthetics. Okay, the ship flies a bit heavy, I'm not gonna lie, and she's a bit thin on the armor, but it's a cool ship. It really is, and I really dig it.
So for me, I went out of my way to get one of these because I thought it was going to be really cool. It is really cool. It doesn't work for me in my fleet though, because I have a Redeemer and a Connie, and this sits right in between those two. It is a combination of both, and so I got rid of it because of that. But the one other thing that I can't get looked past, and I think what I would call mine is the pizza box, if I ever named one, because it flies like an open pizza box. You are way up incredibly high above it on the third-person camera when you're trying to land because of those wings. And I don't think the benefits for that, like, I think in time, the benefits of those wings will become really apparent. Like, I think it'll save a lot of fuel when it's in atmosphere, for example, having such big wingspan. But right now, they're just annoyances. Little things like how when you're in the seat below, you're controlling the back turret. It would have been far better to give the guns to the person on that down there, and and have the pilot use the turret on top. Quite honestly, but yet it is cool that you can shoot backwards. But there's no reason why you can't use another MFD or something like that somewhere else in the ship. I found it a bit weird that all the guns were given to the pilot. Maybe it is a Drake thing, I guess, but the fact that you could turn those guns and shoot something else. I did like that they fixed the turrets. Initially they only fired sideways, now they fired forward. That was way better. It's got a way. Go ahead.
There's one point I want to make about the gun layout that you were mentioning. Actually, when I first saw the ship and saw it in game, I genuinely thought that the two in regular configuration, all four guns would fire forward, gimbaled for the pilot. But when someone went into that second thing, I thought two of them were split off to the person underneath there and be an independent turret, because it looks like it should turn around, and I just don't understand why it doesn't do that.
And that's what it was meant to do, and that's what we were told it was going to do. But it seems that they changed it, And so now it's just the back one. I honestly think I can't see why you can't make it so he controls the top turret and the back, and it's just like wherever he looks is what it fires. So if it's out of the arc and you're firing backwards, it just uses the back turret. But as soon as you come around, it's firing the top and the bottom. You know, or you could be looking down and it stops firing the top turret. That makes so much sense to me.
Yeah.
And maybe it'll be that way eventually. I don't know. But yeah, I think, again, there are some little flaws with the ship. When they fix, it'll be great. And again, if you don't have a Redeemer and you don't have a Constellation and you want something in the middle, this is it. And as Paul said, I do think you generally could do some exploration in this, but it's really for exploring the insides of other people's ships. So yeah, I like it.
Just like all Drake ships, it's a multi-role ship. It's the evolution of the Cutlass. If you're a fan of the Cutlass, this is the Cutlass thick.
XL.
You know, the XL Cutlass. Yeah. All Drake ships are technically just Cutlasses in different sizes, but this is the Cutlass if you wanted to actually explore. If you wanted to explore Pyro, you'd use this rather than a Cutlass. So
I can see someone calling their Corsair that now, the Cutlass thick. Right, I'm going to bang these four together. This is the Cutlass series. Let's start with the negatives. So let's start on the steel. Because this is quick and dirty. Don't buy this ship. You can get
buy it.
buy it in game.
Yeah, buy it in game. Absolutely. You can get
cheaper than the black.
You can get 2 Cutlass blacks for the price of this. And as Paul said, it is cheaper than the Cutlass black in game. How does that work? So it's ridiculous. It is the biggest, and we joke, it's the steel with an A, not a steel with double E, because they're trying to steal your money. And yeah, and it also breaks the naming convention. They should have called it the Cutlass Silver, you know, because you've got red, blue, black, silver. Steel, not really color. I would have even gone with gray before I went with steel.
Yeah.
So yeah, anything you guys want to say about that? Or have I covered everything? And we can go on. You guys can talk about the other one. Well, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just say it's crap. I don't like it. I like the fact that it costs so much, and it's just ridiculous. Buy it in game, as you guys said.
Yep.
I absolutely love this ship because it is the epitome of Drake. It is slapped together hot garbage that barely works for what it's supposed to do. Probably does not have the expanded capacity to support the number of people or are in it. So it's like we have this. You can fit 30 people on this thing for 5 minutes before your atmosphere runs out. Like that's so Drake. I love it. Yeah. And at the same time, when they came out with the price being so expensive, I was like, this is bad.
Yeah.
This is terrible. I still love it for its absolute stupidity. Barely use it in game. I don't own one, but you can buy it in game. Just so much better.
I think that kind of covers it. When we're calling it bad, we're calling it bad from a value proposition. I think it will have its heyday in game. I can see people using it in game. I've had a lot of people say, I would just rip the seats out and put it in the black. All that. I think that may eventually come to pass. But yeah, I think you kind of covered it really well there. All right, Loken, what would you like to talk about next? Which one? Or all of them? Do you want to talk about
I want to talk about the black. I want to talk about all of them. Let's just talk about them in one great big lump. So the Cutlass series is the full transit of the universe. It's the most versatile, common ship you see around the place, and for bloody good reason. They're all fly well. They are decently priced. They have decent economy for the scale of Stanton. I adore the freaking Cutlass. Pretty much everybody I talk to who's owned a Cutlass or gets a Cutlass is like, yeah, no, it's a good ship. And there's a good reason for that, because it's just in this perfect place. And then you have the red, which again gives you the ability to, I think it's got tier 3 medical beds on it right now.
Correct.
Is that going to remain having tier 3 medical beds, or are they going to just make it into it? Okay, correct. Cool. So then you've got basically, you've got 2 tier 3 medical beds, which is great. The blue is a bit weird right now, only because it's not got its major gameplay, which is, basically bringing on board targets you've incapacitated, but that'll come in time, and it'll be good for that as well. So they're just great, versatile ships. Buy them; they're good.
Yeah. I think to kind of add to what the only thing I'd say to add what Loken's saying there is you could get a black and have a CCU to turn it into the red or the blue later down, or all three. You could jump through all three and try them all. So if you're a fan of the blue, as Loken was kind of saying, the black's more versatile. And honestly, this ship can do everything in game right now. It is the one ship that we recommend more than almost any other, because it just does everything really well. Right, Paul, your take, and Just tell me which ones you want to talk about.
The Cutlass series is my favorite series in game right now. I think it'll eventually be eclipsed by the Freelancer as the game gets bigger, because this is. But like right now, for Star Citizen as a game, it is perfect. This is the Cutlass Black is everyone's second ship. If you're just starting the game with an Aurora, you are either going to buy it in game, or you'll buy it with cash, so you don't have to worry about it when it wipes, because it is just that good. It is just, it does everything you need it to do. The side entrances are so freaking good for like EVAing for any sort of mission you want to do, especially the Xenothreat missions and such, where you're got to recover all these things. Just having the ability to just park at any point and still load stuff onto your ship is great.
One thing a lot of people forget is this thing has 6 drop seats in the back. It is also a drop ship. It is like the most it's literally a bit of everything ship. It's crazy how much this ship has got going for it.
It's also got tractor beams on the front of it too.
Yep. Yeah. Those 2 arms are tractor beams, so you can steal cargo out of space. Yeah, absolutely.
Which is so good.
It's so good. It just does everything.
Yeah, and there's a reason why everything that Drake makes as a freelancer is a Cutlass, but just different. Because it's a small Cutlass, it's a big Cutlass, it's a thick Cutlass, it's a Cutlass that's a carrier. It's because this is the basis that just works so well as a design. And it's 2 variants just basically say, let's take that little bit of that versatility and then just lean it slightly towards a specific role. So you can't go wrong with the Cutlass Red. It'll do you really well if you want to do any kind of medical purposes. It even has cargo, unlike the C8R, so you even have more space for cargo. The blue Bounty Hunter V2 is on the horizon. When that comes out, the blue is going to really shine in terms of its ability, because it's fast. It has a lot of firepower. It's just good. It's just good.
Yep. I can't disagree with what you said there. I'm going to keep it short and sweet. You know, cargo, bounty hunting, medical. That's it. The steel is a steel. Don't buy it. It's ridiculously overpriced. Right. The cutter. I really like this as a starter ship. It's one of, like I actually think you can kind of slip it in under the Avenger, as in it does a little bit less cargo for a little bit less price. But when for $20 you can also get the game and get an Avenger for $65. When it came with a package for $45, it was a bargain, or as a real steal. But you're stealing from CIG, not from the other way around. So but at $45 on its own, it loses a bit of that sweetness, because essentially you got to add $15 value for a package, so that literally takes it to $60. So it's only $5 under the Avenger at its price with the package. So for $5, I would bite the bullet and get the Avenger. Much bigger guns. You do have, I guess, on par armor at that point, and you're getting 2 extra SC of cargo. I don't know. Paul, I chuck that to you and Loken. Are you a cutter boy or an Avenger boy at those price points?
I mean, I'm an Avenger guy. I mean, I can't deny that the again, as you said, when it was 45 with the pack, it was a no-brainer. Buy it. Now, in its current state, it's only $5 more, and I've had people all week ask me, hey, I want to get a starter pack. What do you think of the cutter? I'm like, well, it's great. It's a really cool ship. It's a really, really cool ship, but for $5 more, you can get so much more bang for your buck. Just get the Avenger.
I've just realized I'm gonna have to do the math on it later, but it's 45. The Avenger on its own is 55. So there's math there that I haven't worked out correctly. Maybe I'm tired, but yeah, the Avenger's 55, because the Avenger's the same price as the Fury. Believe it or not, isn't that crazy?
Yeah,
the Fury is really the Fury is the same price as the Avenger without a package.
That's crazy.
But the Avenger package is, I think, $65, and the cutter package is $60, I think, maybe.
Yeah, so it's only $10 value. So that would technically make this $55 with the package then too, if that's the math. Maybe that's what I had wrong. Not 15, it's 10. I could be wrong.
I like the cutter, but it's very, very specific. Like, if you want a ship that is for cargo transportation and you're just starting out and you just want to be a cargo person with a little bit of flexibility, the cutter is where you go. If you want the most flexibility, the Avenger is still the most flexible ship in terms of that price range. So
there's just something I love about flying it though.
Oh yeah.
I picked up one to just, you know, fart around with during the sale, and I was going to get an LL Turcon, and I've just kept it. Just, you know, I just put my little banana skin on it, and I just, you know, go around.
Yeah,
it's a space fan. Is what it is.
Charming. That's what it is. Yeah. It's charming. It's got lots of character, and you just can't help but love it.
Yeah, that's it.
You take one look at that thing and be like, yeah, this belongs in space, and it looks like it looks like an RV that has grown wings, sort of thing. All of its aesthetic, it's very Drake, but it's still very utilitarian, and you feel safe looking at it, even though it's Drake and it's held together by balsa wood and duct tape. But like, it still looks like that has that kind of look. So if you're looking for a ship that looks good and actually has some functionality, it's great. I just don't, I can't recommend it over at that price point over something like and even worse is that like the 315P is only slightly more expensive than this and has more cargo space.
And it's got tractor beams as well. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
I keep seeing the truck from Spaceballs. I don't, you know, the RV that quite a lot.
The Space Winnebago.
Yeah. All right, Dragonfly. Don't buy vehicles; they are not worth it. $5 between this and an actual ship that can go into space. Rocks in your head. If you want it, earn it in game. It's already in game. Not worth buying. Can't get rid of LTI. Yeah, it's dirt cheap.
It's not bad to get them if you can get them in packages. Like there are some packages that they used to come with them where like if you buy it, you got a Dragonfly for free.
Yeah,
that's not a bad deal.
Or as a referral as well. You can get referrals.
Yes.
So yeah. Right. The Herald. This is definitely going to be one that this will have its heyday in the sun too. Technically, I guess there could be argument to be made the Sen is there as well, but this is probably the cheapest profession starter is what I would call it.
I suppose that's a great.
The Sen's there as well, actually, but I think the Sen's roughly. I'd have to go. I haven't looked at the price on the Sen for a while. I think it's roughly in the same ballpark. It might be this one that takes it out. It was the Hull A for a while, but I think the Hull A's gone up in price. Man, I'm gonna have to check my prices on those ones now. So I've probably made a comment that I shouldn't have. But yeah, again, it's a very cheap profession starter. Hacking will be one of those professions that people I think will really enjoy, especially if you're on the piracy side. So I can see why it is a Drake ship. Loken, your thoughts on the Herald?
I think you're right in saying that it will have its heyday. Right now, at this specific moment, has very little purpose other than to go very quickly in a straight line. And it's very cool to do that. It's stupid quick. I mean, it's like mind-blowingly quick. It's a hot rod. But,
or dragster.
Or a dragster. Yes, like it's a dragster in space. But yes, you're right. It is a profession starter. It is going to give you access to that hacking and data running gameplay. And for that purpose, when it gets it, it will probably be very good at it. So yeah, it's I mean, $85. I don't know if I could necessarily recommend it, but if you're interested in that gameplay and you want to get into it and you're future-proofing yourself, there are worse choices you could make.
I probably just add on what you're saying there because of the multiplication of value. I'm far more likely to recommend the MSR than over this. So yeah. Paul,
yeah, fair enough.
Your thoughts on the Herald, please.
It has no purpose right now. It will eventually, but it's one of those ships where like it's hard for me to say $85 and sit there and go like, oh yeah, buy this ship when it's like you can get this is $5 cheaper than a Gladius.
Yep.
Like and a Gladius gets you far more gameplay options right now than the Herald does.
$15 cheaper than the Cutlass, you know?
Yeah. That's a very good point. Yeah.
So it's really hard to sit here and suggest this ship in any way, shape, or form until the whole purpose for it, Inforunning, comes out. And when Inforunning does come out, it will likely be a good starter profession. But as we always talk about with starter professions, generally speaking, just earn them in game. You'll be able. I'm sure you'll be able to rent the Herald and use it for this purpose, and it'll be fine for you know for what you need to. So it's hard to sit there and say yes, pay for this for $85. So
side tangent. Me and Agrid were talking the other day, and we were thinking about eventually there will be a vehicle that's an IT truck that will connect to this and the MSR to transmit data in areas where the ships can't go.
Cool, yeah.
So imagine going into a bunker and you've got to hack it with a truck and then bring it back up to the Herald or the MSR.
I want that truck to be a blacked out, like just regular civilian van, so I can pretend to be the NSA. That's all.
Would that be an Aegis van, like a blacked out Aegis fan? I don't know.
Yes. I will collect all the data and spy on you.
Yeah. The espionage van or something, right? All right, we're up to the Kraken. I think we can safely... Yep, well, we've got 3 more to go. So I think we can safely put these 2 Krakens together. Now, for me, the default Kraken is a support ship before a combat ship that basically facilitates and helps with the smaller ships, getting them to an area. So it is essentially a carrier. The Privateer, on the other hand, is more economical, and it becomes that player space station that you can drop. Now, we recorded a Fix My Fleet today, and a really good example that someone brought up in the Fix My Fleet was I could go to a planet where a lot of people are doing mining, and I could offer to buy ore off people. So they're bringing their, their prospectors up and their moles. They're selling it here so they don't have to dangerously transfer it across the system. And I can then transfer the entire Kraken with an escort across and sell it.
That's a very good point. I thought of
brilliant idea that he brought up, and I thought it was genius. But you could then take that idea as in mining, and it works in. You could do salvage, you could do medical, you can pair this with an Endeavor, and you can see you have your own little bazaar because you've got a docking collar on as well, so you can connect an Endeavor and the Kraken together, and you could even have multiple Krakens connected together and have like a flying literal shopping mall. So I'm really coming around to this Privateer as an economic powerhouse. I really, really am. And the one that a lot of people come up to is the Banner Merchman as their counter to this. Awesome. That's the luxury, but this has 10 shops versus 3. So that's 3.5 times, or 3 times as much.
It has more landing capability, so you can have more customers.
Yeah. And you don't have, you can't, you've only got the little hangar to land in. The real on the Banner Merchantman, the real strength of Banner Merchantman is going down to the planet. Now this can go down to a planet, but it's going to be a lot more expensive to do so. It is far more likely to be in space and say have things like Hull A's and B's going off the deck delivering cargo, or whatever the profession is doing, the smaller ships. It's designed to essentially extend the range of those smaller ships and give them a lot more utility. I'm very quickly, it is the second most expensive ship in the entire game, but I am coming around to it a lot as an economic powerhouse. That said, though, if you were to buy one, I would recommend the Kraken and then possibly look at the conversion kit, because then you get choices. So I've got one I'm very excited about. I've got my Kraken, but I am seriously looking at the getting the Privateer upgrade kit. So now I pass it off to you guys because I've gushed. This is probably my favorite ship that's here because I've wanted a Kraken for it took me 4.5 years to get one because I had to save for years to get one. But I don't know, I'll check it to you, Paul. Paul, your thoughts on the Kraken, and am I an idiot for buying one?
No, but the Kraken is an ultimate org ship. When it first came out, the first thing I thought was, this is White Base from Gundam. This is one of those, like, the lone carrier ships that you bring all your friends on board. It's like a flying space station, miniature space station. And when they released the Privateer, it was like, yeah, this is just a miniature space station designed for those sorts of things. So there's a lot of potential for it. It is very expensive. I don't think you can get it right now. I think it's all sold out by now.
It was available today at some point. And there'll be another wave literally every 8 hours. So I don't know the time in UTC, but in Australia, the sale started at 2 a.m. There'd be another one at 10 a.m. and then another one at 6 p.m. As an example, you can convert that back to your time zone from when the time zone started. So you've still got 2 more chances today if you are watching this hour before the 8 hour time, obviously. So
it's just incredibly expensive is the only thing I would say. It's like but as we always say, buying larger ships like this now means that you will guaranteed this ship versus having to spend an enormous amount of time to earn it in game.
Yeah. So essentially what you're saying is ships like this are designed for an org to earn, where you can buy it yourself. So that's why we talk about that multiplication of value. So if this ship was 10 times more in value, it's because it's meant to be for 10 people to earn. as opposed to yourself earning. Yeah. And so you can see why we often recommend, if you want a bigger ship like this, that is the best value way to go, because it's just, you know, you can take this and earn down. You can take a Kraken and earn a Reclaimer, but you can't. How hard is it going to be to take a Reclaimer and earn up to this? And that's one of the reasons why we sell a full. We get people to come to us and we've seen people with every version of a 300 series. Not worth it. Have one and, you know, combine the others together and get something bigger. Yeah. Right. Loken, your thoughts on the Kraken and Privateer?
So the Kraken, first up, I mean, as Paul and yourself were saying, it's a carrier, you know, I mean, that is through and through. I take umbrage with calling it a flying fortress, because really, I wouldn't put this anywhere near the front lines. God, no, it's not got nearly enough guns or defensive capabilities. Its entire combat purpose is the ships it carries on board at the top of it. So as a person who is running and organizing a more PMC oriented org, I really like the Kraken as an ideal linchpin capital vessel in a flotilla. It's a really good vessel for that, and I do dig the design. I really do. I think it's a really cool ship. But just again, if you're going to get it, as you gentlemen have suggested, it's a very expensive ship. It's definitely you know, the peak of a gameplay loop. It's a carrier. It's very expensive, but it's really, really cool, and it's an orc ship. The Privateer. Again, it's an awesome vessel. It is, again, exceptionally expensive. There's no doubt about it. But you know, for the purposes you've demonstrated and talked about, it's going to be it's probably going to make a ton of in-game cash. And I would suggest that it's probably a more versatile shopping destination than a Barney Merchantman, as you again suggested, because it's a larger landing area. My only counter of the Barney Merchantman is the fact that, okay, yeah, it's definitely the luxury ship. It's still going to have the ability to have some shops, but also I think the Barney Merchantman is much better placed to defend itself, because the Barney use them as warships as well. So in lore terms, they are exceptionally capable at blowing things up, whereas I think the Privateer might be a little bit more vulnerable.
My counter to that, though, is what about all the ships on the deck?
I mean,
safety in numbers.
But if it comes under attack, though, and there are the customer ships, they're probably just going to scarper, aren't they? They're not going to defend the ship.
I'll add this as well. Being a luxury ship like the Barney Merchantman, I think that will have certain shops that this can't get.
Yes,
like
true.
a high-end fashion shop. I don't see you, like, you could walk in there and you could buy, you know, like high-end fashion. There might be a real classy restaurant on the Banner Defender, but not Banner Defender, sorry, Banner Merchantman. But you know, here you're probably more likely to get, you know,
Whammers.
Yeah, Whammers, or, you know, Astropub sloppy Tuesday tacos. You know, yeah, I don't know.
I like both the ships. I think they're both very cool. And as a guy who likes capital ships, it's very, very cool. I do like it.
Yeah, so I do think we are going to see some more interesting shopping ships as time goes by too. Like I've said to Paul a few times, I think we are destined to get an Origin one at some point, because of the we know high-end fashion is coming. So high-end fashion and restaurants, and they've also talked about restaurants at different price points and stuff like that. So and I think obviously then a single solo ship that's somewhere in the middle that probably can do both. You know, and we might even see a couple of different manufacturers just with solo ships. You know, so we'll see what happens. Because a good one would for that would be an RSI one, because they kind of can go straddle the line. Yeah. Right.
I was going to also say before we go, there's also been mentions several times that CIG is working on a wandering trader personality for AI. So
that's cool.
If you have a wandering trader, which will bring you back to their ship to buy or sell goods, you need a ship that a wandering trader could use. And I don't think you'd see a wandering trader pull you like abandon their Kraken to have you go talk with them, or their Banner Merchantman. Those are a little too big. So that's almost certainly guaranteed a kind of a smaller trade vessel of some kind.
Do you know who could pull it off too? I just realized Consolidated Outland.
Ooh, they could, yeah.
That would work, because they're kind of like the Elon Musk, the SpaceX of, you know, so they've got the techiness and they've got the low quality sometimes when it's needed, you know, they the grit and determination. I don't know, that would work as well. Interesting. All right, I know we're going off on a tangent here, sorry about that. Right, the Vulture. Really good in game right now. Starter profession. I lean a lot more towards the Reclaimer personally. Paul. your thoughts on our little Vulture?
It's good. The only issue with it is that it's a single player. It's advertised as a single player ship, but it's a 2-player ship. You need to have 2 people to function it.
Do you know how
make it use it?
Do you know what we've speculated and we've been testing that works really well? You take out 2 people in a Vulture each, you EVA across and help the guy you do the back while he does the front, and then you swap. Works really well. Works really, really well. And because you can generally not quite do one panel on your own, it allows you to do like you can get like 2 panels between you and you're done easily. So yeah, it works really well. Loken, your thoughts on the Vulture?
I like the Vulture. I like its design language. I find it's a bit funny. I always thought there should be an Argo ship, personally, the way it looks. But I'm happy that it's Drake. I think it's a good ship. I enjoy using it. I do find the fact that you do need 2 people in it as a bit of a pain in the butt. And the other thing as well is that I think this will have more gameplay usage in the future, because right now it's hull scraping, but in the future it's cutting open hulls and maybe, I don't know, having a little look inside, see what's in there.
It doesn't cut them open. So I was going to actually talk about some of the little things that this has got coming. So obviously you've seen the processing door in the commercial, yeah? Right? But actually when you get out the door and immediately look to your left, so this is when you're getting out of the cab, next time you're in game with it, look to your left, they actually uses blast charges to cut the ships up with this thing. And so there's a blast charge dispenser just to your left. Like you'll hit a button and a charge will come out. That's how it's going to work. And then you'll EVA across and put it on and then detonate and it'll... So yeah, a little bit messier than that. And the other thing is I also think this has... the engines at the back, if you actually look, it looks like they're going to be able to move backwards and forwards to redistribute the weight. And it also looks like those front arms can fold back in. I don't know if you've seen that as well. So I think there's a few little tricks up the sleeves of this that we're yet to see. So I'm interested to see what happens with this when munching comes online, essentially. I think we've only got, as you kind of alluded to, stripping at the moment. It hasn't blossomed yet. I think that's a good word to use.
No.
Yeah. All right. Anything else you guys want to add to that one, or move on? I think we're done. We are done.
Yeah, we're finished.
Right. Last thing for today, then, we did talk about CC already, so we need to talk about that, is skins. So we basically got a black and yellow for the Vulture and Cutter. What do you guys think of those 2, real quick?
I love those. They look really, really good. Chef's kiss. They very rarely miss when it comes to doing their skins.
Yes.
These days.
Especially Drake skins. Drake skins are almost always good. I've yet to see a bad Drake skin. It really, So.
Yeah, but they're definitely a step up. I think they're good. And I think this is going to be the 2 popular ones, though, is they seem to have gotten Star Kitten skins for both the Cutter and the Vulture. And they know their audience. They are more expensive than the other 2. Very well.
I like
hey, you know what? Drake has always been the company that had the Star Kitten Dragonfly and everything else like that. So the fact that they're having more pinks and brighter colors and Drake, it's just there's something funny in the irony of the Drake. We're the manly frontier company. Here's our pink ships. It's just like I love it.
They do. What's that line? It takes a real man to wear pink. There you go.
Yes, there we go.
I'm straight.
Yeah.
I do like those though. Both skins look great.
Yeah,
they really, really do.
They really do. I'm going to be picking them up. I'm going to be honest with you.
I think I'm probably going to be doing the same.
Yeah. And at the very least, I'll use them in a giveaway. So, here you go. Here's the pink unicorn skin. Yeah. Actually, that's what we need. Is a like a unicorn skin that's kind of like rainbow and. That'd work really, really well.
Especially for the Cutter, it works because it's like those 80s hair metal bands that they draw those like epic
murals on the side.
Well, they should make their own space unicorn skin, and it's literally just like a rainbow mohawk down the top, and then the rest is just all pristine and white.
Yes,
I'll take that.
Yeah, maybe some stars or something. I don't know. Be good for kids to get involved anyway. All right. Well, with that, then, I think we are done, gentlemen. And that's been Drake. It's been a long one. I think this is the longest one we've done. I did spend a little extra time on some of the ships there, though, than I probably usually do. So, yeah. I think, is there anything you guys want to add? I think I'd probably just say, where can people find you on the internet, Loken? And what do you do when it comes to Star Citizen?
They can find me on twitch.tv/Lokenplays. I'm there 5 days a week, and I stream Monday through Friday. And that's where I'm usually at. I do a lot of Star Citizen. These days, SC is definitely my main game. I do other games too, but it's usually SC. And you can also find me on YouTube, youtube.com/Lokenplays as well, where I'm trying to do YouTube and find time for it, but it's hard as heck to find time for it. But I will get videos out. I will.
Yeah. Do you have a usual stick when it comes to Star Citizen, like a thing, like a miner or a salvager or something like that? Or
well, I always delve in all sorts of gameplay, but generally speaking, my streams will revolve around a bunch of maybe half-decent Star Citizen players taking something combat-oriented and blowing something up. That's what we tend to do. But also, it's all about being inviting, welcoming, helping people out, answering any hecking questions you got. Doesn't matter. I've answered the same question 50 times. I'll answer it 100 times more if it helps you out. You know?
That is literally more than 50% of my life at the moment. Right. Paul, where can people find you on the internet, mate?
Twitch.tv/TheAstropub, YouTube.com/TheAstropub Live, or YouTube.com/TheAstroHistorian if you enjoy lore, especially of Star Citizen lore. It's not just Star Citizen lore. I have done some on the other series, and I will be doing some on Starfield when that comes out. But yeah, if you like Star Citizen and you want to learn a little bit about the universe, go to the Astro Historian on YouTube. And if you want to hang out with some of these folks here, either playing video games or talking about the game, I also have my own podcast and other things like that. So,
yeah, I meant to show those to you earlier, Luke. I'm sorry.
They look really, really, really good.
All right, well, I'll have a talk in a minute about making one for you. All right, with that, then don't forget to like, subscribe. Ring that notification bell. We are trying to get to 15k subscribers before the end of Alien Week, and if we do so, and a Cerulean comes out, we'll give you guys a Cerulean. Not each. We'll give one away. Man, I almost got myself in really big trouble there for a minute, didn't I? Yeah. Yeah, that could have been awkward. All right, with that, then he's been Loken. He's been Astropub. I've been Execute. Catch you in the next one. Say goodbye, gentlemen.
Bye-bye. Bye, gentlemen.
I knew you were going to do that, Paul. Why did I say that? It's terrible.